Welcome to a very special edition of the Personal Podcast. I'm really thrilled to be joined here today by Sir Peter Vardy. Sir Peter Vardy is a businessman and philanthropist. Sir Peter, you've built businesses worth millions of pounds, but I'm curious to learn about the young Sir Peter Vardy. What shaped the boy who grew up in Houghton-le-Spring?
I suppose, like a lot of boys, it's his father that influences. And I had a wonderful father who was a very hard worker. He was a grafter, really, but a man of common sense. And whilst he and I didn't go to university, I hope I got his work ethic and his common sense that I've used in the rest of my life.
I'm sure you must have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's nice that everybody goes to university and gets degrees and all that sort of thing. And I never did that. I went to school and my father paid for me at school. I was a chorister in Durham Cathedral Choir. But I started there with a literacy problem and I left with a literacy problem.
Okay.
I've still got a literacy problem. The school said I was thick, but it might have been dyslexia in these day and ages.
Did they genuinely say you were thick?
Yeah. Well, I was, but
Well,
I had to overcome that. But we can talk about that later. But I left school as soon as I could. School was an embarrassment to me, really, and I understood it could be an embarrassment to a lot of boys and girls. We'll come to that later.
yes.
But I couldn't wait to leave school, and the only option was to work for my dad. And he had three boys. I've got an older brother and a younger brother. And I left at 16 and started at the bottom and probably worked downwards from there.
Definitely not.
I served the petrol, washed the cars, swept the forecourt, did all the jobs really. But it was a good experience. Did some time as a panel beater and paint sprayer. But it was a good experience for me because I then understood every role within the business. So later on in life, I knew how everybody was feeling, what it meant to them to be doing the work they were doing, and be sympathetic to how they were tackling the jobs.
Absolutely, yeah. And when were you aware that leadership would one day fall on your shoulders?
Well, I suppose it was inevitable with three boys and a father that somebody was going to inherit the business. And my dad had a stroke when I was quite young, so I was really thrown into leadership then. But we only had 6 people, there wasn't a big...
Oh, but still, I've got a small business with about 6 people and still, there's still a lot of responsibility.
Well, there is, but my father built the business on strong foundations. So I didn't take on debt, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We had a haulage business, which was the main business, but the haulage business was what my dad started with. He started with a hand cart and a horse and cart.
Wow.
And then started delivering coal for the coal board. So my older brother took the haulage business and I joined him in the car business.
Okay.
Because after the war in 1945, he bought this tin shed, and in 1950 he got a Ford dealership. And by the time I joined, the Ford dealership was running nicely, the haulage business was going well. And my younger brother joined me when he left school. So it was inevitable that we were going to be running the businesses. And it was just how we would operate with the three of us together. And that's a story in itself, really,
yes.
because when we got to when my dad died, he left the business to the three of us.
Okay.
I had 2 sisters, and they ended up getting something else.
Oh, right.
They didn't come into the business.
Oh.
But 1981, I'm jumping a bit here, but
That's fine.
1981, my younger brother decided he wanted to go to Australia.
Okay.
He didn't want to be in the car business all his life. He wanted to do something different. and his wife's relations were in Australia. So we sat down with a piece of paper and valued what we had, the haulage business, the car business, and bits and pieces, and said, right, well, divide that by 3, and we'll each go our own way. So do we cash it in and share the money? And I said, whoa, hang on. I've just got the Aston Martin franchise, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, everything else. So can I buy you out? So they both agreed that I could buy them out. And David took the haulage business.
Okay.
And John went to Australia with the money.
Yeah.
And so that was the way we split it up. I mean, we've seen lots of family businesses, the nephews, nieces, uncles, aunts, everybody that's involved in the family business.
Yes.
But we tried to just say, look, let's have a clean break. Let's do what each of us wants to do. Let's try and work to our strengths. And that's how it worked out. So I was on my own from 1982 onwards. And with one dealership. And then we grew that to a few more.
Yeah, just a few. And what made you go for the luxury car market?
Well, there wasn't anybody doing it in the Northeast.
Okay.
The Rolls-Royce dealer in Newcastle was selling 3 cars a year. But the first franchise I took on was Aston Martin.
Okay.
And it was... I mean, every boy likes an Aston Martin, don't they?
And girl.
James Bond and everybody else.
Yeah.
But I was selling Fords, and they wouldn't give me any more Fords. I had as many Fords as I was allowed to have.
Right.
So I had to have something else. So they said, well, I built the showroom, and I said, well, I need something else to justify the expense. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, what would you like? I said, well, I'd really like Aston Martin. Well, I'm in a mining village in the northeast of England where nobody had seen an Aston Martin in Hotley Spring before. So I went to the motor show stand at Earl's Court and loitered with intent over the stand and said, I would like to have the franchise. And they told me, I told them where I lived, and they just laughed. And they said, no, our distributor's in Leeds. And I said, well, they're not selling many cars, though. No, but, they have the franchise, and that's how it's. So I said, look, I need to do something for you. So they said, well, you can be a service dealer. I said, but there aren't any cars there. I said, there's no cars to service. So I said, look, if I buy a car from the Leeds dealer and I can sell cars, would you supply them? Oh, yes, we'd do that. Well, Aston Martin had only just come out of bankruptcy in 1976.
Right.
So they were very keen. If anybody could sell cars, they would be keen to talk to them. So I got the car and demonstrated. But I studied car finance. The thing I've been passionate about all my life is making cars affordable. And you'd see that on the bottom of all our adverts, making cars affordable. So how do you make an Aston Martin affordable? Well, I ended up developing a leasing product where the customer could get 100% tax relief on the payments.
Yeah.
And it was quite unique. Nobody else thought of it or copied it, actually. But we were paying 70-80% tax in the late 70s. So if you get 100% tax relief on an Aston Martin,
it's massive.
Anybody would like one of those.
Yes.
So I ended up being the top Aston Martin dealer in the world for the next 4 or 5 years.
That's incredible.
And they made me the main distributor. They actually asked me if I would be the national distributor, whether I would sell all the cars. If they made them, would I sell them all? And I thought, well, I can't do that. That's a bit too restricting. But we ended up with Rolls-Royce and Ferrari and all those other cars. And so Stony Gate and Hotley Spring was a bit like Aladdin's cave. There was all the goodies were in the same showroom.
Yeah.
So it was a great time. We had a fantastic time. And that lasted until 1981.
Okay.
Where they actually changed the tax rules.
Okay.
Oh, that was terrible. So I had all these folks buying Aston Martins. But when they changed the tax rule on the leasing, they also opened up the finance rules for the private motorist. Because up to then, you'd had to put a third down and pay over 2 years, or a quarter down and pay over 3 years. The government controlled public spending, private spending rather. But in 1981, they said, "Oh, we'll do away with that." Really, it was because of Austin Rover. The government owned Austin Rover, and they were desperate to sell some cars. So they reduced the finance rates so that everybody can buy. Right. So I then made cars affordable. So we could have a Metro, which had just come out, and you could have that for £25 deposit and £19 a week. I mean, everybody wanted one of those. I had an allocation of 60 cars in the dealership. I bought the other dealership in Houghton Spring, which is the Rover dealership. And I had an allocation of 60 cars. And I said to the sales director of Austin Rover, "If I could sell more cars, would you make them, supply them?" "Oh, yes, you can have as many as you like." I said, "No, but what if I could sell a lot more?" "Well, we'd supply you with a lot more." I said, "Would you guarantee that I'll never run out of cars?" "Oh, yes, I'll guarantee you'd never run out of cars." Well, we moved from 60 to selling 1,000 Metros out of that little showroom in Houghton Spring. Because I advertised every night of the week and very attractive deals. And folks who'd never bought a new car in their lives thought, "Oh, I'm going to have a new car for the first time." And it was a great time. And that led to us buying Austin Rover dealerships in Darlington and Stockton and other places. And then Vauxhall dealerships in Peterlee and Newcastle. So it really set off that momentum that it was just great to ride the wave.
Yeah. You forget what a different time the 80s were. Like when you were saying people who'd never bought a car in their life, it's kind of, I know not everyone can afford a car today, but most people can. I take it wasn't that way.
Well, it wasn't that way. I mean, they would buy second-hand cars, and, we obviously sold a lot of second-hand cars. But new cars, they thought, "Oh, that's beyond me. I can't afford a new car."
Yeah.
But things have changed, and everybody can. Well, everybody can't afford a new car now because the electric cars are a lot more expensive, and everything's got dearer. Yeah. But somehow they struggle to make the payments, don't they?
Yes, yeah. Were there any defining moments along your way?
Well, I suppose one thing, when we were doing quite well, I bought my dad an old Bentley, and it was £1,250. I mean, it's a long time ago. Yeah. £1,250 was a lot of money then. Yeah. But he didn't really drive it, and he went on holiday, and he would ring up because I was only 20 at the time, I think. "How are you getting on?" "I'm on all right." "Have you sold anything?" "Yeah." I said, "I've sold you a Bentley." "So, oh, that's good. How much did you get for it?" "Well, I'd made £150 profit, so I got a star for that." And I said, "I've taken a Bentley in part exchange." "Oh, that's good. Well, I'll be able to ride around in that." And I said, "No, I don't think it's the one you'd like to ride around in." Anyway, he got back from his holidays and pulled up on the forecourt and saw this Bentley that I'd taken in part exchange. And I could see the colour drain from his face and the rage in his eyes. And he says, "What's that?" I said, "It's an open-top Tourer Bentley. Didn't have any doors. You had to climb in." And it had a klaxon horn on the side. And he says, "Put that around the back and set fire to it." He says, "Just set fire to it and put it out the road." He says, "You'll never sell that." I said, "Dad, I'll sell it. I'll sell it. There's someone somewhere that'll buy it." And a couple of days later, a friend of mine who'd gone to Durham School with me came, "Oh, I'd love that. Oh, that's my heart's desire." He says, "I'll go away and save up." And I thought, "Oh, how long will it take him to save?" my life's a bit of a misery at the moment because I was living at home at the time. But he came back, and I got another £200 profit on this old Bentley, which was £600. And since then, my dad never questioned anything I bought because I said, "There's always somebody.
Yes.
I just need to find somebody, and sometimes after than me, to buy it." But we had some, Maseratis and all sorts of things. But there's always somebody. You just have to find the buyer.
Yes.
And if if you're good enough, you'll find the buyer for whatever you're selling, as long as you bought it right and the car's right.
Yeah.
There's always somebody for everything.
I know.
So that was a bit of a defining moment.
Definitely.
That saved my skin that day.
They always say one man's trash is another man's treasure, don't they?
Well, I didn't sell trash.
What gave you this confidence to just sell, do you think?
Well, I'm very good at working at my weaknesses.
Okay.
So I knew what I was bad at because school told me, and so did everybody else. But it wasn't until I actually got my driving license that I started to sit down with customers and try and sell them a car. I realised actually that I might be good at this. If I could hone those strengths and work out how to make the car affordable. So I was advertising deals that people wanted and selling cars that people wanted.
I see.
Then I would have an easier life,
Makes sense.
So that's what I did, and I studied all of that. And then I realised I couldn't actually sell all the cars myself. If I'm going to expand, I need some salesmen. So in 1982, we hired 2 salesmen who worked with me, and they were still with me when I sold the company in 2006. And we just developed a sales process. But I had 3 things that drove me and drove the business. And that was 3 things: people, stock, and marketing.
Okay.
And you had to get them right in that order. You had to get the people first.
Yes.
If you got the stock out of line, or you got the advertising too far ahead of yourself, it cost you a fortune. So finding the right people, finding the skill set of the right people, finding people that had the skill set that I didn't have. Could I find people whose strengths covered up my weaknesses? And I'm not an accountant. I mean, I read accounts every day, but I don't compile the accounts, and I never sat in the accounts office. That was the only place I didn't sit.
You seem really good at remembering numbers, though.
Well, yeah, I'm all right with the numbers. It's the letters that's not very good. But it was good. We developed sales programs, sales processes, and stock. You have to have the right stock. And in car dealerships, you take all the part exchanges in, but they're not ideal stock for the customer. So you had to get rid of the trash.
Yeah.
So you only had cars that people wanted. Bought a dealership in Scotland, and there was about 100 odd cars on the forecourt, but they're all red, white, and blue Escorts because they're all ex-Motability.
Okay.
And so the first thing I did was organise transport, take all those away, and bring some ideal cars on the forecourt, ideal stock with an ideal program.
Yes.
Well, the salesmen thought they were God's gift to the industry, because they were selling 40 cars a month
I see.
instead of selling 4 cars a month.
Yeah.
But they were only selling what people wanted to buy on a deal that they could all afford. So it made the business work. So if you have the people right, you have the stock right, then the advertising was the final bit of the 3.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because marketing is so important. But a lot of people, I'd imagine, they would, almost get the right people, get the stock, and just hope people would come, especially in those days before e-commerce.
That's it. I mean, that's why I advertised every night of the week or every morning of the week. And that's why whenever we expanded into a new area, it had to have a regional paper.
Okay.
I mean, now it's all on the internet, isn't
Yeah.
it? But then we had regional press. And as long as we had a regional paper that had a good circulation, we could start straight away and knock the doors off the hinges.
Yeah, and it really worked.
It did. I mean, another dealership we bought sold 40 cars a month. And I said, well, how many do you think you could sell? 45. I said, but could you sell a lot? And so I had to bring some salesmen down from the northeast to launch it. But we sold 179 cars in the first week.
Wow.
Fortunately, we were opposite the police station, and the police could organise the traffic. So it was a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
But it was just advertised in the Express and Journal. It was there.
So it works. Personal isn't just about business. It's about the human stories behind them. We address all aspects of health, from cancer, gastric bands and meningitis to mental health and the menopause. Nothing is off limits on this show. But as these stories often highlight, you can't take your health for granted. I know I don't, and that's why I trust WPA to protect my health. WPA isn't like any other health insurer. It's not for profit and offers award-winning, tailored health insurance solutions to individuals, families, and businesses of all sizes. Among UK health insurers, it consistently tops consumer surveys and Trustpilot ratings, while its members can manage their membership from pre-authorising claims to accessing remote GP services, all on the WPA Health app. Crucially, they help ensure the access to the very best treatment at a time and place that is convenient to you. I speak with Martin Nichols, one of the 90-plus dedicated WPA healthcare partners across Britain, who provides advice and ongoing support during your journey with WPA. Contact Martin anytime on 07870 513 653 to discuss your requirements. Martin Nichols, appointed representative of WPA Healthcare Practice plc, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. The healthcare practice is a wholly owned subsidiary of Western Provident Association Limited, WPA.
Out of everything that you've achieved, what's one of your proudest moments been?
Well, to have moved from 6 staff to 6,000 staff and having 6,000 happy staff, as I believe I had, that was some achievement. They would have bought cars anywhere, and those lads would have worked anywhere. I suppose the thing that I look back on is probably the schools, because I built 5 schools.
Yeah, I don't think many people realise all of this.
Well, I floated the company in 1989, and I put shares from the company into the foundation. And everybody said, what are you going to do with the foundation? I said, I don't know yet. Well, I'll find out. And just then, Margaret Thatcher and Kenneth Baker wanted to introduce city technology colleges. Schools were run by the local authority.
Okay.
And Margaret Thatcher and Kenneth Baker said, we would do better than this. You know, we need to change this system. So they announced they were going to do city technology colleges, and they were going to be sponsored by business people. So they came to me and said, would I sponsor a school in Gateshead? And I said to Kenneth B, if you check me out, there's no way you'd be asking me to build a school. He said, why is that? I said, I got 1 O-level and I left at 16. My report says I'm thick. So I said, you'd be laughed out. No, they said, we've checked and you've turned around a lot of failing businesses. Could you turn around a failing school? And I thought, well, that's a bit of a challenge. And the foundation's been a bit like that. Things have come to me that you end up saying yes to, and then you work out later how you're going to do it. And with a school, schools fail, as everything fails, because of leadership.
Yes.
So if you could sort the leadership of the school out, you could, have much more successful education for the children we serve. But in a school, you have school teachers, don't you? So they qualify as a teacher, and then if they're really good, they might be head of department. If they're really good and serve their time, they could be on the senior leadership team. And if they live long enough, they could be a head teacher. They could be a principal of the college. But what are they? They're still a teacher. They're not the chief executive, a multidisciplined, highly, And that's where it falls over, because we expect the head teacher, who's a teacher, to be good at everything, and they can't be good at everything. So when I got the schools, I said, look, you concentrate on teaching and learning, and I'll sort the rest out. So put a finance director in, an IT director in, but the biggest thing was the HR director, because you had to get the right teachers in and the wrong teachers out.
Yeah.
And that isn't very popular with
No.
education people. But we have an obligation to every child in that school that we will put inspirational teachers in front of them so that they will do well. And I would say to the head, would you put your child in front of that teacher? No. I said, well, don't put anybody else's in. Oh, no, but we can't sack teachers. I said, well, I had to sack salesmen if they couldn't sell cars. So you'll have to get sorted out. So we had a process. I mean, it sounds, very aggressive, but we had a process of, can we train? Can we put them through a training program? Can we train? Can we transfer? Could we transfer them into another area? But the third T is terminate. Now, which one do you want to choose? And, we had to get some of the teachers out because they weren't good enough, because the children had to be the top priority. The performance of the school depended on inspirational teachers and, students that passed their exams and did well.
Yeah, it makes sense. At the end of the day, we're dealing with the future generations.
We are. That's it. And those schools were transformational because they were built in areas of high or very high deprivation.
Okay.
And nobody really wanted to live in those areas. So the house prices were cheap and all that. Not Gateshead in particular, but the other schools, Middlesbrough, Doncaster and Blyth. And because we opened schools in those areas, the house prices went up.
Wow, okay.
Because parents wanted to get their children into one of our schools. And the area improved, employment improved, the houses got painted and the cars were better in the gardens, in the driveway and everything. So it did exactly what Margaret Thatcher and Kenneth Baker wanted. But the other thing was, it was winding the other schools up.
Okay.
Because we had 500 applicants for 100 places. So everybody wanted to come to our schools, nobody wanted to go to the others. So they had to improve.
Yes.
So they started to think, well, we need to do something about this. So you would find that schools in the area all improved because there was what good looked like in there.
Exactly,
and I've always been touring the world to find what good looks like. And if I knew what good looked like, then we know what we're aiming for.
Yeah. So that's probably one of your proudest moments.
Well, to see all those students, coming through. I mean, I got to Edinburgh, 2019. The roads were wet, the paths were wet and slippy, and I fell over and broke my ankle. So I got carted off to the Royal Infirmary in Edinburgh, and they said, well, come back tomorrow morning. So I go back in the morning. We're very busy, It might be 5 or 6 o'clock before we get around to doing anything for you. And I said, well, just wait here. And my wife took me, so I said, you might as well go home. So she wouldn't be at the car park till the orderlies came and took me in for the operation. So they put metal plates in my leg and everything. And an hour or two later, curtain goes back and this great big lad said, well, I saw your name on the list, so I thought I'd better do your operation. Oh, I said, that's very kind. He says, well, I was one of your first students at Emmanuel College in Gateshead. I thought, he said, I thought I owed it to you. So he did the operation for me. But then a few weeks later, a guy lands with a bottle of whiskey. And I thought, me. He says, well, I went to Emmanuel College and I was part of the Entrepreneurs Forum, which I started in the Northeast. And he says, I've just sold part of my company for 20 million. So he said, I thought I'd better buy you a present. So he turned up. But there's folks all over the place that have gone to Emmanuel College, had a wonderful experience, come out and done great jobs. And that, when you see that and you've affected people's lives and livelihoods and families, so they are doing well, so their family does well, and
it must feel amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the best bit. There's plenty of other things we've done, but
that's a pretty big deal. Okay, so if you stripped away your titles of businessman, philanthropist, knight, who is the real Sir Peter Vardy?
A car salesman from Boughton Spring, really.
And
that's all I am, really. I mean, I have no airs or graces, but I ended up being a good salesman who could create marketing campaigns, who could attract people to come and work with me, So 6,000 people was quite a responsibility.
Absolutely, yes.
6,000 families and 12,000 children.
Yes.
You think, whew.
Yeah. How did you handle that responsibility?
I slept well at night. I mean, we expanded gradually. I mean, I know I bought a number of dealerships, but it was all very controlled, and it was easier then than it is now. There's more restrictions now on everything, more interference with government, but we just naturally progressed, and I didn't have any stress at all. I mean, I didn't have any sleepless nights, and it was wonderful because I surrounded myself with good people.
Yes.
If you surround yourself with outstanding people, you share the responsibility. And when I floated the company in 1989, it wasn't that I really needed a lot of money to expand the group, but I needed to share the responsibility and share the ownership with a team. So that share options, and everybody could have shares. So when we issued the shares, I mean, they got the shares for nothing in these deals, but we floated the company at 90 pence a share, and were sold out for £9 a share. So, if folks had 100,000 shares, they were doing very well, and some had a lot more than that. And we created a few millionaires and everything. So it was really good.
Again, must have been a lovely feeling.
Well, I could have kept it all and had all the money myself, but you don't need that. What's the point of that?
Yeah.
So sharing it out was much more pleasurable.
Oh, definitely. And when you kind of reach that level of success, does it bring clarity and purpose, or kind of the meaning of life, or does it create almost more questions for you?
No. I mean, I realised what I was doing was selling cars, building motor retail businesses, and we ended up with 100 dealerships and 6,000 people. And everybody knew what we did. What was important to me was the values, so that we had everybody carried a values card, so they knew what the values of the company were. Because, when I only had 6 people, I was living the values myself among the 6 people. But when you've got 6,000, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
But it was a good thing to have, and it was rules to live by, more or less. So it was a great time. But with the success of the company, alongside came these foundation opportunities. So I didn't want anybody thinking that they were working for me to make me rich. It just coincided that these other opportunities came along. So they thought, we build schools. That's what we do as a company.
Yeah.
We make some money and we give it away. The schools were sort of £2 million each to sponsor. And we sponsored universities and all sorts of things and things abroad. But it was good that folks thought they were doing something which had a meaning and a value.
Yes.
And they all stuck in and worked very hard for that. So.
And based on your experience and everything you achieved in your career, what type of career advice did you give to your children?
To work hard. My son, who's in the car business now, he was desperate to sell cars. He sold his first car when he was 16, but he worked on the petrol pumps and did all that before. So, I want them to be grounded and to have a strong work ethic and a strong values system to work to. And fortunately they have. I'm very fortunate they have.
Yes. Excellent. And faith seems to have played a large part in your life. Was that something that you've always had, or was it something that developed later in life?
Well, my dad always wanted me to sing.
Okay.
He would stand me on this chair and say, go on, sing The Lord's My Shepherd. And I had to perform The Lord's My Shepherd for family and friends and everything.
Would you like to do it now?
I'll send you a recording. So I ended up in the church choir in Hotley Spring. But then he had me, we were in Durham, delivering Easter eggs to Woolworths, actually. And he heard the voice trials were on for the cathedral. So we'd shoot straight up to the cathedral and barge our way in to see if I could join the voice trials. Well, there's 100 boys there for the voice trials, and they only wanted 4 or 6.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you can't get people to sing now. Things have changed. But I ended up getting in the choir there. So I was in the cathedral choir singing morning, noon and night from when I was 7 to when I was 14 nearly.
Wow, okay.
So I was steeped in church worship and singing. But then I came home, and my parents, who were very keen Christians, were in a very small church in Houghtonleigh Spring. And when I joined there, I was told I had to play the organ. And there was a pedal organ, it wasn't electric or anything, it was a pedal organ. But the lady that played it had very big calf muscles, so she wanted to give it up. So I ended up doing that. But I saw in my parents 2 wonderful Christians who had care and concern and for everybody they met. And seeing that example encouraged me, because I mean, you can inherit a business, you can't inherit faith. Faith, you have to decide this is for me, and I decided it was for me, and I would be a follower of Christ and dedicate my life to a life of service with him and everybody else I met. And to be honest with you, that's why I've been a success.
Okay.
Because somebody that's been as thick as I have, to end up doing what I have done, I've had to have some divine inspiration somewhere, or divine leadership, because I would never have achieved it on my own. I don't think.
But you're not thick.
No, but these opportunities have come to me, and I'm thinking, why have I got these opportunities? We've done ships, we've done schools in Africa, we've done hydroelectric schemes in Zambia, and we've done all sorts of things through the foundation. How is it that folks find their way to me to get us to help with all that? And it's a faith perspective on a lot of behalf of the folks we're helping. So it's been a wonderful life, as they say in the movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Has your faith ever been tested?
I think my faith hasn't been tested. No, it's never been tested. But I get 150 requests a month for support from charities that we work with.
Oh my goodness.
So you're sitting in judgment on who do I help. And that's a bit scary, because you don't know whether you're helping the right ones, and we hope and pray that we do. But that's the test, really. Are we making the right decisions to support what we should be supporting?
Goodness, that's so many. Every month since you've launched the foundation.
Yeah.
Wow. It's almost like playing God yourself in terms of how do you choose.
Well, it is. That's why it's a worry.
And do you have any other beliefs that people might not know about you? Or
No, I'm fairly straightforward. There's nothing complicated. It's what you see is what you get.
in quieter moments, is there anything that you wrestle with?
Well, just the foundation stuff, really.
Foundation,
I've got a file in my in the house. I have to do it all for tomorrow. Going through all of the Alison,
Yes,
my secretary, she gets all the requests, and she can discount some of them, because they're a bit wild and wacky.
Oh, really?
Or they're from miles away. But the ones that qualify, and I see them all.
And you still get the final say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see them all.
Do you ever think of slowing down or retiring?
Well, I wouldn't know what to do. That's the problem. If I think of something to do, I might have something. But I was 79 just last week, or the week before, and it keeps saying, "When will we retire?" You can't retire. If you're not dead, you're not done. And I just have to keep going.
It's a nice attitude. And what do you hope that people that you know personally and that know you personally say about you when you're not in the room?
Oh, they could say anything, couldn't they?
They could.
Well, I hope to say what I said about my dad. We were kind, generous, and purposeful. I don't know whether that's enough, but yeah.
They're good things to be described as, definitely.
Well, I was talking to some kids in school the other day, and I said, what I really want to stress is kindness. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lack of it at the moment.
Yes.
You know, folks aren't kind anywhere. They just criticise everybody. They tear limbs off each other. And I said, just set about trying to be kind and go home at night saying, what act of kindness have I demonstrated today? Mm-hmm. And log it and say, did I do good today or did I not do good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lovely way of looking at it. I, as you know, I've got my daughter's parents' evening after this, but what makes me most proud is hearing about how kind they're being to other students. And actually, one of the other mums messaged me the other night just saying, I just have to reach out and let you know how kind your daughter is to my daughter who's been having a tough time. Yeah. Honestly, I was crying.
No, but it is at school, you know, and we need to be teaching our children that because school is a dreadful place for some of the kids. Really cruel.
I do think there's a kindness culture has shifted a bit, you know, and it is recognised a little bit more in school. When I was at school in the 90s, it was more about, you know, being the best you could be and being better than others. There was an element of competition, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but certainly sometimes there was unkindness involved in that process. So when you sold your business, you could have just slowed down, but you decided to set up the foundation. Why was giving back so important to you?
Well, I mean, I suppose part of the Christian life, I believe I was blessed for a reason. I wasn't blessed to buy a boat or an airplane or anything like that. I mean, that doesn't interest me. But there's a responsibility to use what God has given me. I mean, he gave me an ability to make money. So he has to give me the ability to give it away. Otherwise, it's been a waste of time. So if I can give it away responsibly and to good people who are going to do great things, then the effect of the business and the whole reason for building the business and making the money is justified and seen. So the idea is trying to give it away before I die. Because there's actually a lot of wealth created in enormous charities. But the guy died about 200 years ago, or he died 100 years ago, or something like that. And you've now got a few trustees sitting around there trying to spend a little bit of the money. And I'm saying, no, just go back to the original founder. What did the founder of the charity want to achieve? And try and work that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, that's just my feeling.
No, it makes sense. And you must meet people who we've already talked about from a business sense, from an education sense, where you've literally changed lives. How does it feel when you meet someone where the foundation has changed someone's lives in terms of charitable donations? Or
yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot of charities doing great stuff, and the only thing that holds them back sometimes is money. I mean, sometimes it's vision, sometimes it's strategy.
Yes.
So they can want the money without the vision and the strategy. But as long as you find the people who have got it well organised and they have the people, they have the product, and they have the marketing right, it's the same as it's in the business. Then you can support them and see them develop that charity.
Yeah. Definitely, that must feel, again, so good. And you've already mentioned the word responsibility. I was going to ask, do you see it as generosity or responsibility?
Well, responsibility, really. It's, I'm being generous with what I've given, but it's a responsibility, really, you know. I mean, there's lots of things that we've been able to support. I mean, a lot of the things we're supporting other folks that's doing it, with the schools and with Safe Families for Children, it's charities that we started ourselves because we saw a need. Children in care. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. Children in care. Can we stop them going into care in the first place? So we have 8,000 volunteers that are working with mothers that are struggling. But there's 18,000 children in care living out of area, costing £1 million each. I'm thinking, it doesn't need to do that. So we're building houses so those kids can be brought back home, put a care package around them. I mean, the first 8 children that are coming back are costing the government or the local authority £9 million. 8 children costing £9 million.
I don't understand how.
Well, because the children are out of area. So
Okay.
it might be a town in Scotland and they send the children to London. So there's all the looking after them. I mean, everybody's making a lot of money out of this, mind, you know. So
Okay.
Private equity companies and everything has got care homes.
Right.
So the idea is we bring these 8 children back. The houses we're building and the care package around them is £700,000 a year. So saving £8.3 million on the first 8 children.
Wow. And they're probably being better looked after and close to
Oh
real
yes,
families.
yeah. They're beside their own family, they're being looked after in their own town, in their own city, and with much better prospects. Because 40% ended up in prison by the 21.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, there's an awful lot to be done. And, with anybody that's interested in charity work, I say find something that excites you, or find something that makes you angry, and do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't sit around waiting. Find out what.
Yeah. And is that one of your priorities, children?
Yes, early intervention is the priority. In business, you have to sort the problem out at source.
Yes.
You can't afford to let a problem overwhelm you, or else you get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So can you sort it out at source? And from the school's perspective, from children's perspective, how early can you get involved? Can you prevent? The model I saw was preventing children under 5 going into care, and the model I've brought back from the States is they reduced the number of children going into care under 5 by 50%.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that, you reduce the number of kids going into prison by 50%.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, you think surely somebody's woken up and done the maths here and realised that that's what you should be doing, but the politicians haven't.
No.
It's just something they don't tackle.
Why do you think they don't?
They're not in place for long enough.
Yeah.
Education, I think in the 20 years I had the schools, I think we're about 15 education ministers. Look how many prime ministers we've had.
Yeah. Especially recently.
There's nobody stays around long enough.
Yes.
And we have elections every 4 or 5 years, and we have children's ministers, and there's
I
nobody stays long enough to be responsible for it.
Yeah. So do you still think there's things you need to do? And if so, what are they?
I don't know. God will show me what to do.
Okay.
These opportunities come, and I have to deal with them as they come. And, I'll give you a book that's that thick on things the foundation's done. But it's just things will come, and I'll have to work out from a common sense point of view how we should deal with it and help folks that are interested in that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm cleverer than anybody else, so don't get that. But I get folks coming and asking for help, and sometimes they need a bit of help, sometimes they just need a bit of money. So whatever they need, I'll help with. But just keen to serve and be as effective as I can be in the folks that walk through the door.
Yeah. Well, I think you're incredible. And what do you want your legacy to be?
I suppose kind and generous. If folks say that about me, I'd be well pleased.
Well, I'm sure they are, definitely. Right, we're on to our regular feature, Sir Peter, where we've got 9 questions for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, you have to rate yourself at the following things. It's just a bit of fun, really. Okay, number 1, how good looking are you?
How good looking am I?
Yes, how good looking do you think you are?
It's daft asking me.
But it's all about what you think of yourself.
Oh. Well, I try and be tidy. I try and get dressed up and be respectable, but attractive, I don't think that's a word for me to use on myself.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, what number would you give yourself?
Oh, 3 or 4.
How funny are you?
Well, I try to be humorous. So, I'm not all that bright, but if I can make folks smile, then they think a bit better of me, I think.
You keep coming back to this, how you say you're thick, you're not that bright. Do you think it was literally drummed into you at school? Because surely you can't believe that.
Well, that I wasn't very bright.
Yeah.
Well, it's on every report I got at
But
school.
that's at school. That was judging you.
No, but I'm generally not all that clever.
Okay.
So, if I'm reading, literacy was my problem.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm reading, I can't remember what I've read.
But you can still be clever.
Well, the exercise of common sense, I hope, makes me a bit cleverer than
And I think
would have been.
that makes you clever. Anyway, how good at cooking are you?
Hopeless.
Okay.
I've been on cooking courses, but my wife came with me and she was more concerned about what I was dropping in the sink, sharp knives and all that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So cooking I have to leave to the chef.
Okay. Right. Number 4 is singing, and that must be a high school.
Yeah, I'm in 3 choirs in Scotland. At the
Oh,
moment.
really?
Yeah.
So you still love it?
Well, I keep getting called to sing because folks are trying to start choirs, and because I can read the music and sing, I get called on.
Oh, brilliant. So would you give yourself a 10 out of 10 for that one?
Oh, no, I wouldn't go that far.
No?
Maybe 7.5.
Okay. Do you drink alcohol?
No. Well, I'll have a glass of wine now and again, but I've never drunk beer in my life. I've never had a pint of beer.
Yeah.
But now and again, I'll have a glass of wine.
Okay. What would you rate your parenting skills at out of 10?
My wife is very good. I was an absent parent for a lot of the time when I was building the business.
Okay.
We're watching a series on the television at the moment. Emma Hart.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
No, it's based on Harrods, really. And, she was at work all the time. And, and Margaret just said the other night, that's like you. You were working all the time.
Yeah, I guess it was the culture back then as well.
I suppose it was. And, the dealerships were from Aberdeen to Reading.
Okay.
So, I was all over the place. So she's very good. She's developed 3 very nice children.
We haven't really spoken much about your wife, but how important is it having someone supportive of you back at home when you're running a business to that scale?
Oh, essential. Essential. No, you couldn't do it without.
Yeah.
And she came from a family of 6 children. I came from a family of 5 children. Her father was a builder. Mine was a haulage man. So we came from very similar backgrounds. So when I met her, we were engaged in 3 weeks.
Really?
And married in 8 months. And that's 55 years ago. I keep saying I've been happily married for 40 years.
For 15 years.
40 out of 50, it's not bad going.
Oh my goodness, wow. So did you just know she was the one straight away?
Well, yeah, we're brought up in a similar way, faith background, parents involved in the church, and giving a lot to what they were involved with. He was a youth worker, so my dad had a big Sunday school, 150 children in the Sunday school. So it was very similar. So, it makes things easy if they come from the similar background.
Yes, absolutely. Are you a good friend?
No, I don't think I am.
No?
No.
It's very honest.
I've never developed friends.
Okay.
So if you say, well, how many friends have you got? I'd say, well, my wife has a few. But I've never because you're running the business, you never get too friendly with the folks you're working with. That's sometimes too dangerous to get that involved. And because you're a success in business, folks look at you in a different light. So that's a difficult question, yeah. I should be a better friend. I try and help loads of folks, but, you know, you wouldn't say that we are bosom friends.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I haven't got any to play golf. I live on the golf course, but I haven't got any to play golf with.
Yeah.
I should have somebody.
Is that a regret of yours?
Yeah, I should have tried harder.
Okay.
But at 79-year-old, it's a bit late trying to change the habit of a lifetime.
Yeah, you seem very close to your family.
Oh, yes. I mean, the family were wonderful. Yeah, the kids. And yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're good friends.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's lovely. A lot of my closest friends are family members.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Oh, if you count family,
Yeah,
I've got great
count
friends.
Family. I'll count family for you, Sir Peter. Okay, intelligence levels. Now, I know you're going to score yourself low, but I don't think you should.
No, I don't have a strong intelligence. You know, as I keep saying, common sense. I deal with common sense, but if we're sitting talking about university folks sit and talk about all sorts of subjects, and reading, I could read a book and not realise what I've read. You know, it's difficult to explain to folks who are not clever.
Maybe you mean academically, but I think there's so many different facets to intelligence, and you know, you can't sell if you don't have emotional intelligence.
Oh no, I've got the emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and I think that's just as valuable, if not more valuable.
Yeah.
So yes, but you're going to get high score here. How kind are you?
Well, that's the reason for living, I suppose, at the moment. You know, to try and help other folks that need a helping hand. So I hope that I'll get a tick there.
Yeah, I think maybe a 10. Do you think?
Oh, I don't know about that, but maybe some folks who don't help wouldn't give me the, you know, if I've helped them, they'll be fine. But no, I mean, I'm trying to be kind, trying to be generous.
Oh, well, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Sir Peter. You are an inspiration to so many people around the North East, and thank you very much.
Well, it's very kind of you. Thanks for the interrogation.
You're welcome.